This is Jen with SeductionUnleashed.com, helping you unleash your best with women and beyond. And right now we're about to go into a bit of a deep topic because we're going to be talking about the most common thing that I think holds back the common man when it comes to getting better with women. Outside of society, outside of the conditioning, you know, the whole Disney programming that kind of just naturally tends to transform you into a white knight, I want to go into something else. I want to go into the fact that one of the most biggest things that I think stops men from getting good with women is the fact that you adopted an identity before you even gave the opportunity to yourself to become what you truly are capable of becoming. That's some deep shit right there. Here's what I'm saying. Growing up in New York City, or growing up anywhere, if you look around you, you'll notice, like say the guys who are pretty boys, who are good looking, whatever case, when you look at their body language, just look at how they move. They'll do the extra little laughs, they'll be like, haha, yeah, you know, hi. They'll do that those little moments where it's like, they know that they're a pretty boy and they act it out. But that's beneficial to them because it unconsciously, it becomes this thing where it just naturally reverberates to itself. The problem is when this happens on a negative level. For example, you may have noticed that growing up, the dudes who were fat or the dudes who got called ugly or whatever the case was, they didn't have that body language. They didn't walk into the room like, haha, yeah, you know. They didn't give off that swag like, oh, I'm sexy. Why? Because they got told from an early age, you're ugly. You're fat. So what does that do? That unconsciously makes that dude, that little boy, that man ultimately become that identity. That's why you look around, you look at big fat dudes, what are they over here trying to act flirty and sexy? I know you could argue if they do that they'll get rejected, but you'll notice that they never even try. Like a lot of fat dudes, a lot of ugly dudes, they don't even try to go up to the pretty girl because they feel like, what do they feel like? Naturally, I'm out of my league. They don't even try to play the role of being sexy because why? They feel like, well, I'm not sexy. But in reality, everyone can be sexy. Hey, look, you're not a pretty, delicate flower. You're not a woman. You're not limited to your looks. You are a hunter. You have so many other things. Your character, your fucking personality, your ability to charm, your ability to have conviction, and ultimately your ability to push, pull, and use duality to create that tension, that positive, negative, to create that attraction that makes women come to you. And that comes from your logical brain, the fact that you are a man, you can plan, you can strategize, you can do all of the above to make your fucking dreams manifest. And one of the most biggest weaknesses is adapting an identity. For example, for me, this wasn't so much for women. My biggest vice was life and success and pursuing my dream in a productive manner, because early on I got into this mindset because I grew up in the inner city. I didn't get into street shit, but what happens is that senses still have a negative effect, because maybe you're not some street gangbanger, but you might pick up smoking weed, or you might pick up other bad habits, or you might pick up certain ways of being that are not productive. You don't know, like I grew up, I didn't know shit about taxes. I didn't know shit about credit. I didn't know, like, you didn't learn any of that. When you grew up in New York, when you grew up in the inner city, you grew up where I grew up, we didn't learn any of that shit. So what happens is I adapted. I don't know why I have such a problem saying that word. I adopted the identity of being, because I had this chip on my shoulder, because I was the only Asian around, and I got dealt a whole bunch of shit from people. So when I finally got good with pretty girls, it let me have this crush to where I was like, fuck you. This is like, you thought you a fly motherfucker, look at me. I'm showing up with this bad bitch on this arm, bad bitch on this arm. I dress cool, you know what I mean? I'm hopping trains, and I don't give a fuck. I'm a badass. And that was a bad mindset, because I adapted the identity of trying to be this badass through using women, through beautiful women, or this image, instead of fucking doing the right thing in life, which is to adopt the identity of I want to be successful, or I want to be productive, or I want to do good, rather than because that's what ends up happening is a lot of times, like in the hood, for example, you want to, because everyone's poor or whatever the case is, you don't want to get made fun of. You want to show the image of being fly, or you want to show the image of getting women or getting money or whatever the case is before you actually did that shit. So you limit yourself subconsciously to that identity. So for example, you might have the idea that, I'm just a regular guy. The moment you say that, you just fuck yourself up. You're not a regular guy. You say that shit, kill yourself, motherfucker. You're not a regular, because here's the thing. So what happens if you come across a millionaire, or you come across an opportunity to make millions of dollars? You are not even gonna take it seriously, because the moment you read it, you're gonna be like, it's probably a scam. I mean, I'm just a regular guy. bam, you just boxed yourself in subconsciously. You think you're being humble, you think you're just being cool, but in reality, you're not being laid back, you're not being humble, you're being a fucking bum. You're limiting yourself. You're taking the identity and you're adopting it, and you're not even realizing that shit. That's why this channel is about duality. It's about the sun and the moon. It's about evil and good, positive and negative. That's ultimately what it is. That's why you got people who are super, not to get political, but super lefty. I'm over here, I got tattoos, I smoke weed, I fucking got dreadlocks, I do naked yoga and then go do DMT, and my credit score is shitty, and I don't have a business, or I don't have organization in my life. And then you got the people on the other end where they're just super, they got everything going, organized, but socially, spiritually, empathetically, they're like fucking dead, or they're stiff, or they don't know how to show love, or I got career, I got success, but I ain't got no bitches, because you don't know how to express yourself in a way outside of that super stiff, logical way. It's about balancing both aspects. So once you take an identity and you box yourself in, that's it. You just box yourself in. You just fucked yourself over automatically. And I just think this is a big thing for dudes, because you have this, a lot of dudes, you try to talk to them about women, and the biggest problem isn't the advice. You could give them all the greatest advice, you can give them the greatest openers, the greatest things to keep girls interested long term. But the moment you give it to them, they're like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't really know if I like it, because it's just not really me, you know? And it's like, well, who are you, motherfucker? Sometimes it will be dudes who like young as hell saying this shit. And it's like, who are you? How do you even know who you are? I mean, it's just like, you're not gonna know you're good at something until you try it. But if you have this idea that, this is my identity, I don't want to try this because this is not my identity, subconsciously you will block yourself out. Just like a lot of dudes, for example, they don't want to do certain things because it isn't considered masculine, or in their particular culture or where they grew up, it's not considered masculine, but they may have an interest in it, but they don't want to do it because this is not the thing to do with that identity. And that shit is the biggest fucking problem. So if you're a fat dude, walk up and be like, hey, yeah, I'm fat, I'm sexy, look at my sexy titties. You know, adapt and then do not limit yourself. That's what I'm saying. Ultimately, that is the biggest weakness that the common man fucking has, is his identity. If you're walking around like, I'm just a normal guy, well, what do you expect? You're gonna get normal results. You're gonna get mediocrity. If you're walking around like, oh, I'm just a fat guy, that's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna have a foursome with fucking 5 bad strippers or some shit, because you are in your head like, oh, I'm just a regular guy. Even if the opportunity came up, hypothetically, you would turn that shit down and you wouldn't even know it. For example, me, when I first started looking into, how to make money or how to pursue things outside of a typical 9 to 5, I would look at videos, and when I looked at something, or just how to get better with business, I would see videos, and if it sounded more reasonable, like 20,000 or some shit, or some number where it sounded more reasonable, then I would click that. But if I read something that was like how to make millions, or like how to, anything with millions, it was like, nah, I can't click that because it seems so far-fetched. Why? Because I already boxed myself into this idea that, oh, that shit is too far-fetched. Why? Because you put yourself in that box. Just like if you come from a very humble beginning, you walk into a rich restaurant, you walk into a very fancy restaurant, a lot of times you feel uncomfortable. Why do you feel uncomfortable? It's just a restaurant. There ain't nothing, it's not that fucking special, but unconsciously, because you feel like, oh, this isn't me. This isn't me. Fuck that. You are anything. I could walk into the most fanciest restaurant, talk to any waiter, it doesn't matter. I could walk into the hoodest hood and, yo, what up? How you? That's it. I could walk into the greatest restaurant and be like, hey, how you doing? Like, whatever the case is. Be a chameleon. Be like water, my friend. Like my guy Bruce said, man. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Sometimes the greatest advantage you have is the ability to adapt, to be like water, my friend. I fucking love that quote, man. That shit is so genius. So if you enjoyed that incredibly popular video and you want to see more on dating, relationship, self-improvement, and motivational content, start now by hitting that subscribe button and bell notification right there. If you want to continue your journey, pimp, hit that video right there. So with that being said, bro, unleash your best, and remember, till next time, confidence is bred by competence. Peace.